Hello, and welcome back to the Poorly Ran Podcast, the only podcast on the internet where, well, I send at least 10 typos every day, guaranteed, or your money back, but you're not paying for it, so there is no money involved either. Lewis, stop laughing.
It's true, though!
It is. Every
I can't
group
help it.
How do I average 10 a day? It's quite simple. It's all the people I talk to.
It is literally a poorly written podcast.
Yes.
It is poorly written.
Back when we produced a show, it was like 10 in one paragraph on a script.
Yeah, literally the whole joke of our cover art is that I can't spell. So I'm like, let's make a show about me not being able to spell. Because the only reason I mentioned this is because I wrote down a rundown for today's show and I see a typo and it's right in my face. So that's how we're doing today. All right, let's get serious right now. Please welcome Niki to the podcast. She does her photography and also runs a very awkward baking show. No, that is the title. No, I'm not insulting her to her face.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You jackasses, I'm not being that mean yet. Anyways, that is our guest for today. Before we get into today's episode, be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have TikTok as well, doing those viral dances.
But to support the campaign for a free webcam for Mike.
Yes. Mike to 100 campaign is still going on. We might have to motivate people more. If all the accounts, if those 4 accounts get to 100 followers each, Mike gets a free webcam. So far, there's a cup holder with it. If you had like a custom webcam, what would you want with it too? So far, we have a cup holder.
I don't know. Like just like free swag and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, like, so the cup. So now, in addition to the cup holder, I have to get Mike a cup to put in it. All right, thank you. So
there you go.
Oh, I have a quick thought. Should I make it hot pink?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Mike's not here to defend this, so that's fine. It's going to be hot pink with a cup holder, and Mike gets a free cup.
What about a little like umbrella that you can put in as well?
See, now we're getting somewhere.
Now we're going pina colada direction.
There we go. There we go.
Pina coladas.
See, Niki, you're just fitting right in. We're all thinking the same thing. It's currently 8:20 here, so. So let's get into the episode. Thanks, Zach, for plugging social media and all that. Let's get into the episode with Niki. Like I mentioned before, she does photography, but she also runs a very awkward baking show. End quote, because the audio listeners are not going to get, they're going to be like, why is he saying such a bad thing? So why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, talk about stuff that you do, like the photography, the baking, and, take it from there.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. So, as you mentioned, I'm Niki. I am a food photographer and a graphic designer. I live in Toronto, Canada, and I run a baking show on YouTube called A Very Awkward Baking Show. It is exactly what it sounds like, where I am a very, very amateur baker, and I try recipes that are way out of my skill level and my comfort zone, and even like there's most of the recipes I don't have all the equipment. I don't have some of the ingredients are missing. It's been a really fun show, and just to learn different recipes and do recipes that I would have never done before, which is really cool. Realizing that I'm not as good of a baker as I thought that I was before I started the show. So yeah.
Well, I will say baking is pretty hard. I mean, even for me, I read the directions on the box and I still screw it up somewhere along the line. Yeah,
I have all the directions in the recipe and it still just doesn't work. I think I'm really not I'm not a patient person, so I'm not a very good baker because I'm not patient. I'm just this is taking too long, and then it just doesn't work. So I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I've tried baking before. It usually goes, it's either I can eat this, versus all right, now the cookies are hockey pucks, so we can go out in the backyard.
There's always the third one. It's like, okay, now time to call poison control.
Ooh, you don't want that one. That's the worst one.
That's the rare one.
Yeah.
That's a rare one. So I tried to dabble in baking before. It doesn't go so well. My sister is an excellent baker. Don't know why she won't open her own bakery. Open your own bakery.
Do it.
I know you're listening. Open your own bakery. As I shout into the mic.
My grandma's a really good baker, but she had to learn how to make gluten-free stuff because my aunt has celiac.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever had like kind of gluten-free food, it's not like bad. It can taste bad, depends, but I accidentally ate all her brownies, like that. Not all, but me and my brother split them, and then my mom's like, those were gluten-free, and I said to her she was lying to me.
Yeah, sometimes it can get like really tricky. I don't know. So I think it's gotten I'm not gluten-free or anything, but like I think it's just gotten maybe better now that more people are like more sensitive to it, I guess.
Yeah, when my brother's allergic to gluten, so I was there when there wasn't a lot of options, and you had to duck and cover sometimes.
Yeah, the gluten-free stuff. Because people are like, it's just a dumb trend, and I'm like, some people genuinely cannot have gluten.
Yeah.
So I'm glad some of the gluten-free options are tasting a lot better. Because at first they're like, yes, there's no gluten, also there's no flavor.
Plus, I've also heard that if you're not like allergic to gluten, or if you don't have celiac or whatever, then you shouldn't eat gluten-free stuff because then it's actually like really bad for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense all of a sudden. Because there's this one restaurant when I like to eat out at work. There's this one place I go to and I get the mac and cheese, and then I just found out it's gluten-free mac and cheese. So that makes a lot of sense all of a sudden. I'm not allergic to gluten. I mean, I love gluten. Gluten is delicious to me, but I'm not also trying to pick on people who have diseases and just can't eat gluten, can't process it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to be framed up. It's like, he hates glutens. Don't listen to the poorly written podcast.
He hates people with
celiac.
I feel like I'm the one
Imagine how that
most of
goes
the
out.
blame on that.
Oh my god.
Imagine how that becomes an article.
Yeah, somehow
Local resident hates celiac.
hates people with celiac. Throws brownies at them in protest. Like, well, you're in Canada, so like here in America, that definitely would happen. It's not a question of if, it's a matter of where and what state. I guarantee you it's Pennsylvania, but
I would have suggested Florida because that's where all the wacky stories are.
No. Florida has more important things to do, like throw gators through drive-through windows. You don't have gators. You have moose up there.
Yeah, not where I am. Like I'm pretty
Moose
far
free.
south.
Pretty moose free.
Yeah, like if I drive maybe a few hours north, then I could get to moose territory, but I've never seen a moose in the wild in real life. But where Toronto is, it's more like southern Canada, and so there's actually like whole states that are more northern than where Toronto is.
Right.
So yeah.
I'm stuck on moose for whatever reason. I mean, like people are like, "Oh yeah, the moose are up there," and I'm like, "Yes, but we have moose too. They're huge. I think I've seen one before at like at a zoo or something. They're big. I'm like, I would not want to encounter.
I saw one on the road several years ago.
That could have been
And
anyone.
my mom was mad because all her life she wanted to see a moose, and that was the one time she fell asleep in the car and she missed it.
Oh no.
Oh.
As it should be, right?
Normally I'd feel bad, but she fell asleep, so I mean,
It's her fault.
in moose territory, out of all places.
I think
it was a late drive.
No excuses.
I think I'd be afraid to see, like, usually if you see a moose, you should be scared because if they run at your car, then you're just
they're
done.
They're big tanks. They're big tanking deer.
Yeah.
They will kill you. That's not a question of if, it's a question of how much do you want to square up.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, in the city in Toronto, we don't have that many pests, but we just have a lot of raccoons. That's kind of what we're known for. Is just a lot of
I
raccoons.
think I remember there was that tweet years ago that was going around viral where it's like there was a dead raccoon on the sidewalk in Toronto and there was a Twitter account and all that.
Yeah, that was actually I wasn't in the city. I think I was like on a trip. I was traveling when that was happening, but it was literally like down the street from my house that was happening.
That must have been funny. It's like, really now?
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah,
So
but I have a lot of raccoons in the backyard. Like and around this time, there's usually like little babies that are out, and they're the cutest things.
So I guess taking out the garbage after like a baking show must be really, or a photo shoot, it's got to be kind of difficult because you got to lock it down too, because the raccoons are in eating the cupcakes. They're like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, luckily our compost boxes have locks on them, so that's like literally why they were made with locks on them, because the raccoons will just go in there and eat anything. But they're getting smart now, where apparently they're learning how to unlock the boxes and open them up. So I don't know what the next plan is going to be.
The next plan is the raccoons become thieves.
They already
Right.
are.
No, they upgrade their standards. They go from boxes to robbing jewelry stores next.
Oh, they'd be good at that. They have tiny little hands.
They have
So
tiny.
cute.
This is weird. They have tiny little hands. I can't wait for them to just take a big rock and pop, and then they get in.
Like, yeah, I was like, you see, I thought about that idea of the lock. I was like, that could work. And they just said, oh, they practically picked the lock. I was about to say, you hear this in American environmentalists? This is a good idea. And she said, oh, they picked the like, nope, there goes that idea.
Yeah.
They don't know how to use locks, and the raccoons are like, hold my stolen cupcake.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go back into the photography. So food photography.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how is that? Because like I know like on Instagram there's a lot of like niche markets and stuff and like genres and I know food photography's out there. I mean, like there's accounts where it's literally called food porn and it's like food you want to dive into. So like talk about some of the food photography that you do.
Yeah. So I love food photography. It's very fun because it like the reason I like it so much is because I love food. I'm a big foodie and I just like being around food, but also because it makes people really happy. Because like if you see a good food photo, like you're not going to be upset about it. Like you're gonna be happy that you're seeing that. But yeah, so what I specialize in is food photography for social media and for Instagram. So the kind of food photography that I do isn't as heavily stylized. Like there is a lot of techniques and things with food photography where like you use mashed potatoes instead of ice cream, or you like paint like literal varnish onto burger buns to make them shiny, like stuff like that. Like I don't really do anything like that because I work with like restaurants and other food brands. And what I want them to showcase on their Instagram, and is what people are expecting on Instagram, is more like authentic, kind of candid. And people don't want to be tricked in there when they're seeing ads, when they're seeing things on social media. And so what I specialize in is showcasing the food as it is, as the customer will see it. And like there are a little bit of things that I do to like make the plate look more full, or like rearrange the burger so you can see all the layers, like stuff like that, but nothing really like super fake, like McDonald's hamburger fake or anything like that.
Yeah, you're not doing the mashed potatoes ice cream trick. Like you're not.
Yeah.
Which was something I found out about, and then I remember all my childhood, all the Friendlies commercial, and then they're like, "Come see our ice cream," and then it turns out they're mashed potatoes, and I'm like, I'm really mad.
Yeah.
I think the one that always upset me was once they prop up like little foam bits, they prop it up so it looks bigger than it actually is. I remember the first time I had a Big Mac, because I didn't like burgers for the longest time ever. But then I was like, you know what, I'll try one. And I just saw an ad for Big Mac like an hour before I went, because I was coming back from like a soccer game or something. And I was like, ooh, it looks exactly like it does on the menu. I'm going to try that. I get it. It's a little flat to crap. And I'm like, what's it's like... You just saved me, you food gods. and then I watched, and then someone sent me a video of all of the tricks they do. I'm like,
don't you love that? Don't
America like they're stupid.
You do not underestimate the American advertising. Do not underestimate it because they will oversell it.
Oh, we have that here. Yeah.
I mean, it's an international thing, but like, I'm not sure how much you get on like fast food advertising or like food advertising. Like, is it? Have you been to America? Like, have you seen? You've seen our television stuff. Like, you know what goes on down here. We love reality TV and we love sports and apparently talk shows. So there we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, like, since you don't like do any tricks, is there like a particular food that's like kind of hard to photograph?
Yeah, that's a good question. I typically have trouble with drinks because when you look at a drink photo, you don't get that like craving that you get when you look at a food photo as much. So that is something that I'm definitely like want to practice more, is like cocktail photos and beer photos and stuff like that. But I do have a trick for beer actually, and for carbonated drinks, actually mostly beer. That oftentimes when a shoot is going for a long time, like the head on the beer dissolves. And so to get that back, you use a straw and you just like stir it really, really fast. And then the head comes back up. It's really cool. It's like the coolest trick that I have for beer. And I always like, if I have to shoot a beer, I always tell my clients, I'm like, oh, look at this. And they're like, okay, cool.
You want to
Like,
see
you
a
don't
magic?
understand.
You want to see a magic trick?
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend drinking the beer afterwards because it would be like really weirdly flat and so, but it's a good trick.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
gonna
think.
jot that down.
There he goes. Lewis actually, his family owned a restaurant for quite a while, so he is our main foodie consultant.
Oh, cool.
Besides India is our soul food consultant and also general food consultant too. Basically, I ask her, I'm like, where do you want to go eat? And she's like, I don't know, you pick. And I'm like, why I always pick? And she's like, because I don't know, but I know if it's good or not.
That's fair. Yeah.
In my house, the cooking is my dad and the baking is my mom. And that's how they're consulted in different areas.
Nice.
That's
a good team.
That's a smart way to do it. You don't want them overlapping. Like I mentioned earlier, my sister is like really good at baking. And then I can decently hold my own cooking. And then there's my brother he's like, look, I found this in the store. I can warm it up. I try not to crap on him too much, but like I'm like, you gotta learn how to cook something that's not grilled cheese. But I guess with like, cause like there's a couple of like restaurants I like follow. One, there's actually a not bar and grill, but it's like a bar in my city of Syracuse that I follow on Instagram. I'm gonna shout them out really quick. 3 Lives Bar. It's a super nerdy bar, but their food photos look really good. And every time I see it, I'm like, I could be eating anything else. I could be eating stuff I made from home, and I'm like, damn it, I should have gone there.
Yeah, that's exactly like the power of good food photography, and that's like what I aim to give my clients.
Well, that, that's good. I mean, because like people want to see how good the food is, and you know that's important. It was like being able to sell the product, because like you can have the best food in the world, but if it kind of looks like trash, no one's gonna go.
Yeah, and it's a good thing like that food is so visual and like people see it and they want to eat it versus like if you think of like perfume ads and like how creepy and like weird they are, because like how do you sell a scent? Like what visuals do you do for that? But then with food, like, how do you sell a taste? Oh, luckily food is like super visual and it makes people just like crave it. So it's a lot easier. Yeah,
it's funny you bring up the perfume ads and stuff like that, because like I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure they took acid before the board meeting or whatever, the storyboard meeting. They're like, all right, we got I'm gonna pick on more people. Ariana Grande's new cloud scent. What are we gonna do? And they're like, well, give me about like 5-10 hours and we'll have something.
We need 7 unicorns. Let's go.
More acid.
Yeah,
more. We're not doing coke anymore. That's not what the kids want.
Like how else would you sell it?
How else do you sell a smell?
Yeah.
We don't want smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Not there we go. Now, yeah, I can't wait for them to like do like the first smell-o-vision ad and they just spray it up your like set. It's like, oh, and they're like, buy our perfume.
Oh, it'll be McDonald's for sure.
Oh, McDonald's, it's like the new Big Mac smell. Oh, it smells like a kitchen, and they're like, buy our scent and our food.
No, I literally had to write a paper on a perfume ad like 3-4 months ago, and I was like banging my head against the wall, like, how am I gonna explain why this was advertised this way? but eventually, I just said they got a good-looking guy shirtless swimming in the ocean to sell the cologne.
Yeah.
So they're like, men, you want to be him. So women would. That's essentially how I ended up arguing it.
Yep.
That's how.
Because I had no other explanation for why this was happening.
That's how they sell men's cologne. They're like, oh yeah, if you wear a cologne, you magically get fit. You go swimming in the ocean, and hot babes come out of nowhere. You're suddenly successful. Versus the woman's one where they're like, all right, acid. Let's take the acid and figure this out.
Mm-hmm. You think it would be the opposite? I'm surprised.
Nah, I'm not surprised by that one. But let's go back to food photography.
Yeah.
Sarah asked, "What's the hardest?" I want to know what's the one. Is there like one that like everybody's like, "Oh, can you take a picture of this?" It's like this one's not really that hard, but okay.
Yeah, I love to shoot comfort foods. So like pizza and burgers, and so I actually learned how to do food photography. I used to work for a like a national chain of sports bars. And so they mainly had chicken wings. And so I learned how to shoot like a lot of chicken wings. And they were very easy to shoot because like they're really saucy and like you get the fries or you get like the veggie sticks and they just like, yeah, comfort foods and things that people like really, really love. That's very easy to shoot because you'll automatically like see it and you'll be like, oh, I want that. Like if the shot is like 100% perfect, then great. But even if it's not, you still want that. So that's pretty easy to shoot.
You could botch the shot. It could be super blurry, but they're like, that's a chicken wing. I want chicken wings now.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, with that, I have a quick question for that.
Sure.
So obviously we have a lot of variety in your expertise with that. Is there like any like type of food or like type of food client that you would say no to? It's like absolutely not. Are you like very open to anything?
I'm mostly open to anything. I think that I don't know, it's just, I would say like more kind of like product type food. So like packaged foods, like candy, stuff like that. But I could also like get pretty creative with that. It would be a good challenge for me. And yeah, when I said about like drinks before, like I don't do a lot of drink stuff because it's like a whole nother realm of photography. So, but yeah. Oh.
Not a lot to say no to. No, that's good though. I mean, there's a lot of food, like literally like dozens and dozens of recipes in food and different types of cultures with their own food and stuff. I mean, it's really hard to just find a way to like. Would there be any like just in general? Is there any food that like if you like had to like do a picture of like you would be like, I have no idea what to do with this.
Yeah, I do get that a lot. Like, I would say like cake or something like that. Like something that's really like a lot of desserts are very kind of delicate, and especially like it depends on the brand that I'm shooting for as well. Because I have to think about that because I'm shooting for clients, for restaurants, and think about their brand at the same time of like making the food look good. So for me, like my style is very, like I said, I like to focus on comfort food. I like bright colors. Like I have a lot of colorful like backgrounds and stuff like that, and making like candid and having like hands in the food and like fun stuff like that. So if like a restaurant or a food business came up to me and was like, oh, I want really like clean, really, you know, stylized, that is something that I probably wouldn't be as excited about. Just because it's not really my like area of expertise, because I like having fun with the food versus making it look like pristine and perfect.
They're like, we want it just plain and simple, nothing. Like, we don't want anyone to enjoy this cake.
It's more of like a sculpture than food.
Yeah, it's like why would you not want your food, like pictures of food with people enjoying it or making it look friendly? Like, I've never met a cake that was like, oh, this is the most boring cake ever. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, carrot cake comes pretty close, but
Karen cake.
carrot.
Oh, carrot. Carrot's not even that
okay.
bad. I thought you said Karen
carrot
cake.
cake.
Carrot cake's good. I don't know what
bad.
you're
I mean,
thinking.
I'm not saying it's
Look,
bad.
like a
You're
cake.
asking the most boring cake.
I'm asking him.
Carrot.
You know what's a boring cake? Vanilla cake with vanilla frosting.
I have
Yeah.
issues with you saying
It is.
that.
It is like super basic. It is a super. Just throw some sprinkles on. Do something.
Upgrade to marble if you have to.
Exactly. Get the marble
What?
cake. At least then you have a little, very little variety going on.
I mean, yeah, but I'm a vanilla cake person.
I know you.
So
are.
am I. Yeah.
I don't mind vanilla cake. I like chocolate better. That's
I
just-
actually don't. I
Don't
don't like
either.
chocolate.
Ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yep.
You don't like chocolate? Oh boy.
No.
Well, that's the episode. Thanks for listening. It's fine. I'm like it's whatever. It's just food. Who cares?
It's
Fair.
food. It all goes somewhere.
Oh no.
I mean-
Get your jokes out of here, Lewis. That was
I'm not
trash.
referring to that. I'm not referring that way. It all goes somewhere. It goes to the consumer.
Yeah.
If you want to take it as a joke, you're
What a
okay.
save. What a save on that, because like it was going this and he's like, nope.
Like, nope, not getting the show canceled.
Well, what do you mean? We've been canceled multiple times. Nothing has changed. It's mostly us
true.
canceling ourselves, so it doesn't count. So, unless we have more questions about the food photography, I guess we could go into a very awkward baking show.
Yeah.
Just kind of talk to us about that. I mean, like, let's start off with like, what made you decide to be like, you know what, I'm gonna film myself being an amateur baker and see where it goes from there.
Yeah. So I started freelancing about a year ago, and originally I was going to go into helping businesses do their social media like strategy and stuff. And I realized I didn't really have any experience in IGTV. So I was like, okay, so this is a good opportunity for me to just like practice IGTV. And I like baking, and I'm a good baker because that was my perception at the time, that I was a good baker because I knew how to bake apple pie really well. And like that's kind of my number one specialty, is that I know how to bake pie. And so I was like, yeah, I'm a good baker, and like this might be fun. Like, who knows? And so I filmed the first episode, and I didn't make pie. I made banana oat muffins. Like super simple. I was like, you know, people are in quarantine. Maybe they want to watch me bake. Like, who knows? And I put up the first episode on IGTV, and people really liked it. Especially because in that episode, I forgot to add sugar to the recipe.
Oh.
Like,
Ooh.
not even on purpose. I think I was nervous because of the camera or something like that, because I had made these before. And yeah, so I forgot to add sugar, and I realized that while I was editing the episode. Yeah, people really liked it. I thought it was funny, and so I just like kept going with it, and just like for the first season, just trying different stuff and things that I was afraid of baking, like bread. Like I made bread for the first season, and it was like not hard. It was like probably one of my easiest recipes that I made. But yeah, I just kept going from there, and I had the first season on IGTV, and people really liked it, and so I took a break and then decided to do YouTube for season 2 onward. So it's all on YouTube now, season 1 and season 2. And yeah, I get a little bit more complicated in season 2. Like the season 2 finale, I made macarons.
Mhm.
And that was like what I was dreading for a while. Because most of the recipes that I make, they turn out in the sense that I eat them, like they're edible. But they're not like exactly correct. So, or they take me a very long time. But yeah, I made macarons for the season finale of season 2, and they actually worked. And I was like a pro. It just
Don't you love it when it all comes together at the end? You're like, I don't know where this is going, and then you're like, oh, okay, you know, this, I can actually eat this and serve this. This is great.
I know. It was amazing. It took like forever and so much meticulous work to make like, I think I got like 8 macarons in the end. But it was worth it because it was just an ego boost. But yeah, right now, like for May, I did something a little different for my episodes where there's like little mini-sodes. So I'm trying little challenges and like baking races with some of my friends as guests, just to like mix it up a bit. But I'm going to start filming season 3 this weekend. So that should be
This
it.
weekend. And this episode comes out this weekend. Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
I got the coincidence.
Wow.
timing.
What a big coincidence. I couldn't have planned it better myself, and I'm terrible at planning shit.
Yep.
Wait, that's a really good transition for all the plugs and stuff. Unfortunately, we still have time to film.
We'll save it for later. Just like edit this part and like put it later.
You'll just cut it. No one will know.
Yeah.
No
exactly.
one knows.
It'll be fun.
How would they know?
Can't tell.
They won't know.
How-
They won't
how
know.
would they
I'm the editor too. Watch. Now everything's flipped. It's great. Look at that. Everything's flipped. Wow. Everybody's in the wrong place. And now we're back because I don't want that bit to go on any longer.
Love it. Yeah, I do a lot of on the show. I try to do like, because I'm a big fan of TikTok as well. I try to do a lot of like transitions, but they just don't work. It's so funny.
Food on TikTok is so weird. To get a little off track, like the food TikTok, the foodies on TikTok are very weird because like I see crazy stuff that goes on there. They're like, well, first you need this, 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 and this. I'm like, okay, I've never heard of 2 of those things in my life, so that's gonna be fun. Where are these, Google? And I'm like, oh, they're in a store that's about an hour and a half away. Guess where I'm not going? There.
You know what's terrible? I like the foodie TikToks where Gordon Ramsay is like insulting people.
Yep.
They're like, what are you doing, you bloody bloke?
Yeah, we're doing atrocious things to food.
It's like, how's this beef strong enough to look at, Gordon Ramsay? It looks like a dog's dinner. Straight up, dog's dinner.
So first we're gonna cook the beef, then we're gonna drain all the grease, add water, and then cook it again. And I'm like, oh geez, I hope your dog is not allergic to all that water.
I hope you're not trying to kill your dog by any chance.
Yeah. But
That's what
go.
they send over the beef to him.
But going back to a very awkward baking show, I mean, I watched a few episodes. I actually watched the one with the Macones.
Mhm.
I think I said that wrong, but who cares? I do typos all the time. Real life typos. It's just me not pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
But I watched that one. You were kind of like, kind of hope it works.
Yeah.
Maybe like we're gonna go for it.
Yeah, that's kind of what my attitude is towards most of the recipes. But that one I was, so what I did before that season started is on Instagram, I asked my followers what I should be baking. And so I got a bunch of suggestions. I asked my friends as well. And then I did an Instagram live where I baked like peanut butter cookies and I drew what I was going to bake for the season. And macarons was on there. And I was like, okay, this is the one that I've been like wanting to make. And it's going to be really hard. So I'm going to make it the season finale. And I was lucky that my friend lent me her stand mixer and her kitchen scale. Because you just can't make macarons without that stuff. And so, yeah, I used that and it actually turned out, which is like, amazing.
It was funny because you mentioned the stand mixer because like I got stuck on that part because it just made a very satisfying clicking sound, very metallic, dung, and then I'm like, wait, go back, dung, and then I'm like, what's keep It made a very satisfying sound, and I'm like, oh, those are going to be good just by the stand mixer sound. I'm like, those are already going to be good. I don't need to keep going.
Yeah, it was fun to use one because I borrowed my friends, and a joke on the show is that I don't have like the right equipment and I don't have a stand mixer, and a lot of the recipes I make would be a lot easier with a stand mixer, but I literally I live in a tiny basement apartment. The kitchen that you see in the show is my kitchen, and it's like very small, and there's really no space for a stand mixer. So having it for those few days just on my counter, I was like, there's no way I can get one of these because I have nowhere to put it.
You need its own separate room just for the stand mixer. That's how big those things are.
Yeah, just have some lights shining on it, like a little shrine for the
It's a
stand
little
mixer.
shrine, and this is where I put my stand mixer. I only break it out for the big guns.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Actually, get out of this room.
I
Proceed to
feel
lock
like
it.
I was gonna say I feel like macaroons were in the air this year because my mom made Baby Yoda ones, but you did better because she had to do 2 attempts because her first attempt, I don't know what happened, but something happened with like the top of them where you would put like the filling in it. But her second round, she made like raspberry Baby Yoda like, macaroons for my sister. They're all like really into the Mandalorian at my house.
Yeah, I watched the episode of the YouTube show Binging with Babish, where he
Yes, I love that channel.
he made macarons on the show because of the Mandalorian, and so I watched that before I made mine, and like watching him, and I'm like, I can't do that. It's so hard, but I did it. They were a little bit flat, but otherwise, like, yeah, they were great. It was good.
I mean, that's good. I mean, like, with all that, like, so you had your Instagram followers pick out the recipes. Like, besides the macaroons, like, was there another recipe where you were kind of like, let's see where it's going, or maybe one where you're like, oh, I'm glad everyone picked that one? Because I'm always worried when you let fans pick stuff sometimes.
Backfires.
Because like we just had our like season 1 chaos bracket, so we were doing our own March Madness thing, and fans pulled through. But there's a couple that I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, my friend decided that he wanted to be funny and just suggest a bunch of like really, really hard recipes, like millefeuille, which is like a bunch of pastry. It's called it means in French million layers, and so it's like a bunch of like puff pastry layered. And then he also suggested croquembouche, which is like a bunch of little like dough like pastry balls, and they're like stacked like a huge pyramid, and then there's like sugar spun around them, and like I'm like, no, there's no way I'm doing
the
that.
only reason I knew that one is because I watched this video on like French bakers and chocolatiers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I knew
like
that one.
very,
They're like, we gotta put the balls on the balls. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold up, you're pyramiding these balls, and then you're like, and then we put some sugar on it, and I'm like,
yeah, they're like very intricate French delicate recipes that he so I said that I would leave. Oh no, he actually, and he suggested baked Alaska as well, which requires fire. So I kept that one on, but the other ones, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna put these in my.
Were you kind of worried people were gonna be like, yeah, bake the last? You're like, this one requires an open flame just to complete. Like this is.
Yeah.
There must have been a moment where you're like, I might burn down my apartment for IGTV.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, luckily I didn't get that one. But I was actually excited to get macarons because I wanted to try them. Another one that I made was Pavlova, and I had never like tried it before. I never made it before, but it's like a meringue, and I thought that it would be hard, but it was actually like very easy. So I would recommend that one. It was pretty good.
I guess I kind of answered the question of like what looked hard but actually turned out really easily. There you go.
The Pavlova. There you go.
What was one recipe you were looking at, or maybe you did, that I didn't get to see? That was like, it looked easy, it looked simple enough, and then you got into it, and you're like, oh my god, I'm in over my head. My kitchen's a mess. My dog left me for the raccoons out in the garbage.
So, yeah, that's definitely, I made lasagna with fresh pasta noodles.
Ooh.
And I thought that it would be easy. It was not easy at all. That is like, if you're gonna watch any of my show, that is the episode that I would recommend to watch, because that is my favorite episode. That's a lot of people's like favorite episode. It's on my YouTube channel in season 2, and it was a disaster. The whole thing, like, I never made fresh pasta before, and like, it sounds easy. You just like put a pile of flour on the counter, make a little well, and then like crack eggs, and then just like mix it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not easy.
There's more science to it.
It was so hard. So that episode is like 45 minutes long because I just It was just so much.
I know
Is there a dish or dessert that you're excited to make?
Like for the next season?
If you want, or just in general.
Just
yeah,
general?
Sarah's trying to get season 3 info out of you.
He's trying to
Come
get
on, tell us, give us something.
I haven't made any layer cakes yet, like with fondant and like fancy stuff like that. So I want to do that for season 3. Maybe that'll be my season 3 finale. I haven't actually planned out the season yet, so I'm not sure what I'm making. But
It's on
yeah,
the table.
yeah, and like I really like cake, and I think that it would just be really fun to like. I don't know if you guys have seen the show Nailed It. It's on Netflix. It is like
No.
it's a baking competition show, but with really amateur bakers. And so they have to make these like really well decorated, intricate cakes. It's a really funny show. Like you should watch it.
I think I've seen memes about it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. But yeah, so that's kind of what I want to do is make these like really strangely like well decorated cakes. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, like you're getting ready for season 3. You know, Sarah asked about like recipes planned and stuff like that. I mean, like is there like, I guess for like the upcoming season, is there anything like you want to like maybe try, like, or maybe like look into like certain like equipment that you like maybe you want to try something and then you're like, oh wait, I need that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like other than the layer cakes, because I actually don't have more than one cake pan, so I need to like figure out how to do that. But like otherwise, I haven't really looked into it too much. I would love to get a stand mixer, but then I don't think that the show would be as funny because I mean it would just be a baking show, and like that's not what the show is. It's like
So the struggle is what makes the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like if I got a stand, I'm worried that I'll get to a point where I get too good at baking that it's just not gonna be good anymore. It'll just be a baking show and I'll be like, oh, this is how you make this, and like
That's when you throw in a little razzle dazzle and do it blindfolded or like one hand tied behind your back,
Yeah.
or like you have to do a shot every time you do something.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say maybe you could like spin it off where you're trying to teach like someone who's not even like amateur at baking how to bake.
That'd be funny. Yeah, for my little mini-sodes in between seasons, the first one is coming out on Sunday. But I bake cupcakes without a recipe. Because I was like, yeah, I have enough experience now. No, I don't. They came out like rocks. It was they were so dense. They like the texture of them, like I opened up the oven and they were perfectly round and smooth on the top, like
ooh.
in a weird, like they look like balloons. It was very, very strange. And then they deflated. Like, it's not what you want with cupcakes.
Last I checked, that's not how cupcakes work, but
yeah. And then me and like I've done a few of these where like I did a baking race, where like me and one of my friends, we get the ingredients. Like my boyfriend helped out and he gave us a list of the ingredients, but we don't know what we're making. And so then we like kind of start, he gives us the recipe and then we start and we like had to do it like really, really fast. And he gave us some like hard recipes. So that was fun. So those will be fun when they come out. I'm just editing them now. Yeah.
Isn't it fun when you throw in a little, challenge to it? All of a sudden, now it's a competition. Now you're like, oh, okay, pressure's on. Before you're like, all right, we're going to move it in. And then it's like, all right, you have to fight someone. It's like, I will murder you in this competition.
Yeah, especially when I get like my most competitive friend to do it with me. And we're just like, no.
Like, I'm about to rock your world, son.
All right, get the hockey pads out. Well, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Friendship's over for the duration of this competition.
It's like before this starts, we're friends. When after this, we're friends. But during this, I'm not your friend. I will step on your feet.
Yeah.
And if you provoke me the wrong way, I do have kitchen knives.
Yeah, there's gonna be some yelling involved. It's gonna be good.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, we don't do any competitions on here. I mean, like, it's no competition. Like, who cracks it? What was that?
So, well,
Competition.
not on the show, but off of the show, yes.
Oh, off the show. Because, like, we have...
Anytime we've done Among Us.
Oh, yeah. Among Us. Like, we're ruthless in Among Us, believe it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see it Among Us little chat in your Discord.
Oh, yeah. Like, we were really into it, and then some of us, we just fell off because we're like, all right, we know how we play each other. I haven't played the new map yet. So maybe...
There's a new map?
Yeah.
Airship.
I didn't know that.
We'll talk about this later. This is
not
not relevant. This is not
at this
relevant.
moment.
This is not
At this
relevant.
moment,
Yep.
She knew. She screwed up.
Yeah. well, Sarah did not have to go through all that waiting for the release date. But anyways, I guess we can... I guess the final question for this part is, like, why are you making the move from IGTV to YouTube? Like, it could be... I mean, it could be for a number of reasons. It could be like, I don't like it when it's vertical, or like, you know, like it could be like, oh, YouTube has a better algorithm, or like, or you're just like, you know, YouTube's easier for people. Like, well, what's the reason to go from season 1 IGTV to now it's like, all right, season 2's up there on YouTube?
Yeah, like kind of for the reasons you just said. And I find that YouTube has a bigger possibility for growth too, as well, because my Instagram is for like my business of you know, freelancing and stuff, and so it kind of dilutes it a little bit. So I moved it over to YouTube to also just kind of work with YouTube and try to get like more experience with that. But yeah, I see more potential for growth there. Like right now I'm pretty small, and like losing viewers because, you know, people just scrolling through Instagram will like see and be like, oh, I'll watch this, versus, you know, having to like physically go to YouTube. So like, but I think that it's just, you can grow and like getting monetized and that kind of stuff as well. Plus I liked the like the longer form videos, and I don't know if you've ever used IGTV, but it's actually really, really annoying to use. It's like
I tried to dabble. Now they have the reels, and I'm trying to make reels, and I'm like, I don't get this. Like, I'm not even that old. I'm 24, but I'm struggling. I'm like, I try to sit down and work with it, and I'm like, this is not making any sense.
Yeah, I would have struggles for every single episode. Uploading it to IGTV, where it's like either it's too big, or like my network would time out, or like something. It's really not user friendly, and so I went to YouTube instead, because I have uploaded stuff to YouTube before, and like it was just easier.
Yeah, YouTube is like a Dropbox, where it's like, oh, you want to upload something? Okay, put it in the Dropbox. IGTV is like, you want to upload something to our site?
Yeah,
you want to go? It's too big. Too small, too weird, too sideways. Like, it's mad annoying to like upload stuff on IGTV, and then and plus our podcast episodes can run pretty long, so there's no point for us to like put it on there. I'm like, go watch on YouTube. That's where the video is. Listen to audio anywhere, literally like any platform. We're there. So that does make sense to make it so it's easier to like reach out to people and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then the length, I could do longer episodes, and it was just easier. And I like the horizontal as well. Makes it more like
everybody
legit.
likes a horizontal. I mean, that's my one issue with TikTok. It's like, it's not horizontal friendly. It's like vertical. I'm like, well, I can't make vertical videos, so gonna have to work with me there. I guess we'll move into this final part. Let's talk about baking. Pastries, you know, baking food, making food, like some of your favorite recipes and stuff.
Oh, well, pie for sure. Pie. I've been making pie for a while, and my specialty is apple pie. And I'm a very big fan of making my own pie crust and my own filling and all that stuff. I usually make a couple pies a year, but otherwise, like from the show, I've made a couple of bread loaves. Just like in my Dutch oven that I have, and they're so easy. Like, they're so much easier than I thought they would be, and that's been really fun as well, is just making bread. So yeah, those are my two big ones.
Surprisingly, with all the like at the start of quarantine, people were starting to learn how to make bread.
Yeah.
I live with my grandparents, so my grandma was like, she was like, well, we're gonna start making bread just so we have some, so I don't have to go to the store every time I need bread. And it was interesting to see because I haven't had fresh bread, like freshly made bread, in a long time. So when I tell you, I was very happy to butter my freshly made bread toast. I was I couldn't have been a happier camper that day.
Yeah, for season 2, I made jalapeno cheddar bread.
Ooh,
it was good. We made grilled cheeses out of it, so like grilled cheese in that bread, and it's just it was.
You didn't get any Takis in there either. You didn't try to sneak it in the bread.
See, Zach, for a second, I thought you were gonna say it felt good to butter my own biscuit for a second.
Oh my
Missed
god!
out on it.
My god, get your mind out of the gutter. You and the Racoons
It's
are
not
all
even
up
there.
in there. It's there.
Not even there.
It's there. He doesn't want to admit it. Denial's the first step, Lewis.
Biscuits are bread, though.
In my house, we were cheating. We have a bread maker because we were making bread before the pandemic. So they were making a couple of loaves like a week because my dad likes to make dough for his pizzas and calzones. So my dad is chilling with that bread maker. My dad really likes to cook, if you can't tell.
Yeah, your dad's pretty good at cooking some of that stuff. So
you have to marry like a Greek, is what my mom said. They all cook, is like what she said.
Yeah, have to marry a Greek just to get good food. Supposedly.
That's what she says, but I guess maybe it's more anecdotal evidence.
Oh my god, it's the Russian spy thing again. It's either I make a political joke or we bring up the theory that Sarah's dad's a Russian spy. Like, we got some gags, long running gags around here. It's like, so what's your favorite baking
long
recipe?
Before the podcast.
True. It's like, what's your favorite baking recipe? And Lewis is like, Russian spy. And I'm like, damn it.
Not again.
Not again. He strikes again. I guess
gotta make that a dessert.
I know. I
good name.
I guess some of my favorite like baking stuff. It's like chocolate chip cookies. You can't go wrong.
But you can.
You can't. I mean, you really can't go wrong with chocolate chip cookies. Like, it's
unless you don't like chocolate.
Well, that would that might present an issue, but you know,
I just switched to sugar cookie.
Have a snickerdoodle, you know, go that way.
Oatmeal, have a ginger snap.
Oatmeal raisin.
Yeah.
Oatmeal raisin. Oatmeal raisin.
You guys ever made a mug cake? Like a mug cake?
Mud or mug?
Mug, like a coffee mug.
Yeah.
A mug cake.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's like 5 minutes and you get a mini cake.
Oh, it's so
like,
good.
Oh my
it's
God.
so good.
Beautiful.
You can't go wrong with a mug cake.
No.
You can't go wrong with a lot of stuff.
It's a perfect dessert sometimes because it only takes 5 minutes and it's better than like something you'll maybe get in a freezer or something.
Yeah.
How dare you insult my ice cream supply like that?
Oh.
What do you think I'm doing after this? I'm going back upstairs and grabbing ice cream, obviously.
That's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing an
great.
ice cream sandwich.
See? Ice cream.
I feel very attacked here.
Ice cream.
Actually, yeah. My favorite food is ice cream. So.
That's where it's at.
I like ice cream.
An island.
But like, if I could go weeks without eating ice cream, and then all of a sudden I make up for those weeks.
I don't think I could go weeks without eating ice cream.
Becomes like the
I have
SpongeBob
ice cream
meme.
a few times a year.
What?
4 times a year, maybe.
4
I'm not
times
like
a
huge ice
year?
cream. 4 or 5 times a year. When I was up at Oswego, I had it more because you had
Well,
Cooper
because
right
they
there.
literally did ice cream like every Sunday, so you had it once a week guaranteed.
Yeah, Sundays on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sundays on
Well, if I was
Sunday.
willing to walk to Cooper, then I would have ice cream.
Talking
what
about
I
dining halls, reminiscing over there.
Yeah,
Still
like
working
I have an ice cream cone tattoo. Like that's how much I love ice cream. I'm
I don't blame
Oh.
dedicated.
you though.
Dedicated.
It's so good. Yeah.
I can't blame you. I mean, like, ice cream's really good. Some of it can be like downright great, and like, I can't blame you for that. I'm not a fan of like needles, so the whole tattoo thing, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. But
Now I know the next appliance for you. You should get a small ice cream maker.
I should actually. Yeah, I do want one of those. That'd be
Just don't
great.
buy them for McDonald's. You'll be okay.
I like ice cream.
Every time you go for a McFlurry.
Sorry, the ice cream machine's broken.
Yep. Yeah,
it really broken, or are you too lazy to clean it?
Yeah,
Be honest with me here, man.
Well, if you
It's
order,
an international thing, I guess.
it's an international crisis. What? Who should we call? I'm calling the UN like in a minute. Like as soon as we get off, I'm going. Wait, like, look, we have an international crisis here.
We have to call the UN, EU, NATO, the World Health Organization. We have to call all of them.
Just tell them.
We might have to ban.
All you gotta do is just tell the U.S. military there's oil in the broken ice cream machine, and they'll come fix it.
Just say, or go the route with most charitable causes. Get a group of artists together, sing a new version. We Are the World.
Yeah, there you go. Or another
The Canadian
one.
version. Tears are not enough.
Say it become the communist state, they'll fix it right away. See, we got the Russian spy and my political jab. There we go. That's it.
Covered the gags for the episode.
That's
Cover
all
the
the gags.
bases.
We're out of gags. We're literally at 0 gags unless we can make a new one. We've expended all of our gags for today. Sorry. Please come back tomorrow.
I feel like the Russian spy knew because he came downstairs.
Oh my god, no. I hope I'm home
Perfect
alone. He
timing,
might call his
Chief.
friend. Dimitri, calm down back there.
Well, he knows it's about food too because he went into the kitchen.
Hey,
It
that might
was
be
nice knowing you, Sarah.
Oh, it's nice knowing you. I guess that's going to be the
Thank
end because the Russian spy has showed up, which means it's our cue to start leaving. Before we
Secretly.
go, Niki, thanks for coming on. Want to plug your social media, your projects? You know, season 3 is coming up. As I just kick something underneath the desk, it's great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good. Yeah. So you can find my baking show on YouTube called The Very Awkward Baking Show. Yeah, season 3 should be starting in June. If I can film and edit it quick enough. But yeah, in the meantime, I have a bunch of mini episodes coming out, and they air on YouTube every Sunday. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram at Niki Tagui, it's just my name, or on Twitter at awkward_baking. And yeah, that's where you can check me out. But yeah, if you have Twitter, then follow me on Twitter because I only have like 60 Twitter followers, and I would love to have more. So
We're
that'd be
at 57, so.
great. Sweet.
We're at
We can follow
57. We'll have some links down in the show notes and the descriptions wherever you're listening or watching this. So we'll have links. Don't worry. We'll get you plugged in.
Sweet. Sounds
All
good.
right. So with that being said, it's time for the outro. So say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Louis,
Join the
get your
campaign.
get your hands
Join
in
the
there.
campaign for Mike's webcam. Join the campaign for Mike's webcam.
Not his webcam again. That thing's gonna cost me a fortune by the time we get there.
It'll be so worth it.
It'll be so worth it.